Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to The Edward. I'm your host Eddie, and in tonight's video I'll be discussing what I thought of the latest sci-fi slash disaster flick which came out earlier tonight in advanced screenings, coming out tomorrow everywhere, Moonfall, the newest big scale disaster film from the disaster filmmaker himself, Roland Emmerich. And I gotta say, this was a pretty fun movie, pretty entertaining. Now, before I get into all the specifics and spoilers, obviously, as usual with most of my review videos for shows and films like this, these are spoiler-filled videos, so if you haven't seen Moonfall yet and you plan to watch it tomorrow or at some point this weekend, do not keep watching or listening to this video because I am going to be discussing plot details, spoilers, and all that jazz. That being said, you have been warned, so let's get right back to it. First and foremost, this was by no means a good movie. I mean, it was entertaining and engaging, and it kept your interest, or at least it kept my interest. But, like, is this going to win Best Picture of the Year? No. Is it entertaining? Yes. Is it fun to see on the big screen? Yes. Is it the perfect movie? God, no, absolutely not. Of course, no film is the perfect film. But you know, watching it, it was kind of your generic disaster type film where you've got characters with sketchy past come back into the spotlight when disaster's about to strike. They have an estranged relationship with their family members, with their old coworkers, old friends, and they all got to band together because the Earth faces extinction or something like that. And that's usually the standard formula for a lot of disaster movies, not just Roland Emmerich movies, but a lot of disaster films. This one, I knew he directed this, but if I didn't know he directed this, I would have guessed he had, because it felt a lot like his other more recent disaster films, like 2012, Independence Day Resurgence. Both very entertaining, very fun movies, but the characters and the plots were somewhat the same, and the stakes and whatnot, so you know, the formula was recognizable, but it didn't take away the fun and excitement that the film was. I mean, it had a very interesting and frankly a pretty scary concept. What would happen if the moon were to fall to Earth? Now, spoilers, by the way, the moon in this case is apparently an artificially made mechanism or orb that was made not by aliens, but by ancient humans who were the ancestors that the Earth now who now inhabit the Earth in this film. So aliens were not a part of this. However, there was a big scary worm-looking AI thing, but it was like a bunch of little AIs all come together, kind of like in the Matrix movies, how all the Sentinels and machines come together to form that talking mouth. Well, it's kind of like that, but this was like more of an eel, a curving eel that could zigzag everywhere. But it was still pretty cool effect. So the moon is attacked by this AI thing and starts falling towards the Earth. Now, whether any of this shit would actually happen with like the increased seismic activity or the tidal waves rising to dangerously scary high levels, I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I'm not about to speculate either because I'm not qualified. But it did pose an interesting answer to the question, what would happen if the moon were to fall towards Earth? In this case, it was for, sci-fi artificial reasons, but it was an interesting concept or idea to tackle, and if anybody was going to do it, it would be Roland Emmerich, because this guy has handled alien invasions, giant monsters like the very unpopular 1998 Godzilla film, which I personally love because that's a childhood favorite, and he's handled like natural disaster type films, alien invasion films like both Independence Day films, and and now the latest world-ending or disaster event film has been the moon falling towards Earth. And this movie kind of answered that question, at least in a sense, in a sci-fi setting at least. This was not, like I said, this was not by any means a very good movie, but it was still entertaining, and it keeps your interest from beginning to end. The characters are interesting and likable enough, especially the fantastic performance by John Bradley. He's not one of these paranoid, nasty conspiracy theory types who's just afraid all the time. He is fearful, but he's not trying to hurt anyone. He's trying to warn everyone what's happening. And I thought they kind of gave him a nice arc with having him do the heroic sacrifice, because they're not going to sacrifice the other two because they both have family and kids back home on Earth. This guy had a dementia-ridden mother who could barely remember him, so it made sense out of the three, if anyone was going to sacrifice himself, it'd be him. But then it's cool how the programming in the moon scanned his consciousness before he died, so he could still exist in some way. Although I would have been fine if they had kept his noble heroic sacrifice in there. But impressive, big-scale disaster and action sequences, both in space and on the planet. I also really loved the fact that they abandoned a typical sci-fi trope, which usually includes aliens in these type of stories or situations, where in case the origin of our moon was thanks to ancient humans in another part of the universe who sent along their DNA towards the Earth along with the moon, and that is how we as a species developed. So it actually wasn't aliens, but it was human beings from another corner of the galaxy before their AI turned on them and made them all go extinct. They sent their DNA and this artificial moon towards the Earth, and then life sprung up from there. So that was kind of a fun twist for me. I liked that. Even it would have been cool to see some cool looking bipedal aliens, but that was also an interesting, kind of refreshing twist on the sci-fi trope. You know, you don't necessarily need aliens to keep the sci-fi element there, because it was definitely there. You definitely feel it in this movie. So overall, entertaining, nothing too special, great performances by the cast, impressive, big, grand scale special effects. And I liked it a lot. You know, I don't know if I'll see it again or not. I might see it one more time, but it was an entertaining film, a good way to spend the evening. So I would definitely see it on the big screen if you do plan to see it. And if you have seen it, I take it you're watching this video to see what I thought of it. All right, guys, thanks for watching my film review for Moonfall. I hope you liked it as much as I did, or maybe you didn't. Tell me why or why not down below in the comments section. Have an awesome rest of your night. Moonfall is now playing in theaters starting tonight. So hope you get a chance to see it, and hope you find it at least somewhat entertaining, if not, you know, definitely not the best film ever. All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. Thanks for watching. And of course, until next time, may the force be with you.